Tony McGill divorced Caitriona Balfe because he could not stand the pressure from public opinion. Tony McGill opened his eyes after a sleepless night, the weak sunlight filtering through the curtains of his luxury hotel room in London. It had been almost 6 months since he and his wife, actress Caitriona Balfe, had gone public with their relationship and married in a secret ceremony. At first, it was sweet days. Everything seemed like a Hollywood fairy tale. They walked the red carpet together, appeared at prestigious events, intimate photos filled the newspapers. But that was when things began to change. News sites and fan pages began to report negative news. Rumors like, Tony lives off his wife's reputation, Caitriona is influenced by Tony, and even pressure from crazy fans on social media. Tony wondered, why did he feel like he was being judged every time they appeared together, in public? Every little action, every gentle gesture, was analyzed. The pressure was heavy. Caitriona, while maintaining a professional and gentle demeanor, also often shed tears backstage at events. She feared that the audience would turn away if Tony was stoned too much. Tony began to feel that he was dragging her down. Then one Friday afternoon, as the two had just finished an interview about Caitriona's new project, Tony received a warning from his assistant. There are more than 5,000 negative comments directly on Boss Co's page, Caitriona's fan page. People say you are ruining your career with a wrong decision. He calmly turned off the camera on the set. That night, it was not until midnight that the two returned to their hotel room. Caitriona looked at her husband with sad eyes. "Are we still for each other?" she asked. Tony looked around the cozy room now filled with cold light. A glimmer of doubt flashed through him. Was it too late to save this love? Cracks. Followed by exhausting months. Tony is still in business. He founded a tech startup specializing in cybersecurity. But things are not the same anymore. Every time he posts a picture of his work, some of Caitriona's most snarky fans comment with derogatory comments. You'd rather live in your wife's shadow. Tony reads it with a broken heart. Caitriona is getting more and more stressed. As a famous actress, she is held to a standard not only of achievement but also of lasting quality. When the couple takes pictures together, tabloids close up Tony, with headlines like, "Who's taking advantage of who? She's starting to regret it." Any shirt is discussed. The style, the font color, even the position when standing next to his wife. Once, on a business trip to Los Angeles, Tony attended a producer's party. In contrast to the cheerful atmosphere, he felt like a stranger in the crowd. All eyes were scrutinizing him like a third person entering the life of a star. Some whispered, "He stands next to her just to get attention." That afternoon, he and his wife went for a walk on the beach in Santa Monica. The sea breeze was light, but Tony's mind was heavy. "Are you tired of being criticized all the time?" Tony asked. Caitriona bowed her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "Sometimes I say you're too famous, maybe they look at you to compare, or they'll see me as a failed copy." They returned to the hotel in silence. That night, Tony stayed up all night thinking about the future. He thought about divorce, an idea he had never dared to think of. But really, if they continued living together, public opinion would escalate, to the point that any moment of happiness would be distorted. Attempts to save the relationship. The following month, Tony tried to change direction. He suggested that the two of them participate in a live television interview to share their sincere feelings in public. During the broadcast, Caitriona and Tony shared, they had difficulties, were scrutinized, but their feelings were still there. They wanted to live a normal life, not controlled by pharma. Initially, the reaction was positive. Many fans sympathized. Some newspapers wrote about the sincere, strong dialogue with public opinion, considering it a door of hope. But soon after, the press switched to, "Is it just an act? Is Tony too weak? Is Caitriona hiding something stronger? Public opinion was fiercely divided. Half responded, half continued to criticize. In the following week, many Caitriona fans sent emails to her company. "We don't need Tony, send him our farewells." The management company tried to intervene. They advised avoiding further interviews, advised resting, advised taking a long vacation. Tony objected. "How can we call that resting? We're just avoiding the problem, it doesn't solve anything." One Friday afternoon, Caitriona burst into tears in the living room of their Malibu villa. "I was afraid you would get tired. I didn't want you to get hurt anymore." Tony hugged her, tears welling up in his eyes. "I see everything is falling apart. But is it worth it to drag it on any longer?" A decisive decision. Finally, on a chilly Sunday morning in Malibu, Tony woke up with a clearer determination than ever. He was getting a divorce. Not because he didn't love her anymore, but for his mental health, for his self-respect, because he didn't want to wallow in unreasonable pressure for the rest of his life. Tony called his management company and his own lawyer. The first day of doing both seafood, he said clearly, "I want to divorce Caitriona. She is a good person, but the draft has turned everything into a burden. If we continue, things will only get worse." The management company was stunned. They immediately asked Tony to reconsider, asked to meet Caitriona to discuss. Tony kept his decision. The manager let Tony and her husband meet in a small room near the beach. Tony looked into his wife's eyes. "I still love you, but we need to let go to save ourselves." Caitriona was stunned, her eyes red. "Are you going to leave me in the middle of a scandal and fight against public opinion?" He shook his head. "It's not you, it's us. You deserve a peaceful life, without being criticized by anyone." They decided to get married peacefully, agreed to divide the property according to the law, not to dispute the custody of the children, no children yet, or the property. They released the information to the press, a joint document, gentle, without accusations. They helped the lawyer make a joint statement. "We parted ways in harmony after respecting each other. This is a decision for each person's own happiness." The news of the divorce exploded immediately. At first, the tabloids had the headline, "Caitriona broke up with Tony because he couldn't handle the pressure." Some fans were gloating, "Wife made the right choice when she divorced." Tony read it without any big reaction. Caitriona posted on Instagram, "Each person has their own path, thank you everyone for understanding." Some fans encouraged her, "We are still with you." At this point, public opinion gradually changed. Reporters began to write about the story. It's not a failure, but a liberation for both of them. Psychologists spoke up, life under pressure does not allow love to flourish. They chose the solution of not hating and preserving their own values. Some fashion magazines commented, "Caitriona is still radiant when she appears independently. She is affirming that she is just a talented actress, not relying on anyone." After a few weeks, Caitriona got an important role, a female character in a big-scale movie. Tony also launched his first startup product that made a splash. Each of them went their own way, not distorted by the press. One evening, Tony received a handwritten letter. "I have no regrets. I love you. I wish you happiness." He looked at the letter, smiled slightly. He felt a sense of peace in his heart, something he had not felt in months. The end, but not the end. Caitriona walked the red carpet alone, without Tony by her side. The flashbulbs aimed at her were as bright as if they had never been absent. She felt sad, but she knew she was starting a new chapter. Tony continued working, sometimes secretly looking at his ex-wife and smiling. One day, Tony went to an international technology conference. He went on stage, talking about how to handle stress and pressure from public opinion in the era of social media. He gave a personal example. If you are suffering from pressure not from yourself but from the way others see you, the courage to leave can be a way to escape. The whole hall listened in silence. After the speech, an audience member stood up. "Thank you, Tony McGill. I also had to break up because of public opinion, and now I know I am not alone." Then a series of people came to talk and share. Tony felt that he had not only divorced, he had become someone who helped others dare to give up a life that was not worth it. Final words. The story seemed to be the end. In fact, it was just the beginning of the next chapter of each person's life. Tony and Caitriona each kept beautiful memories. The first days of dating, the times they walked together on the beach, the laughter behind the scenes. They did not hate each other, and even wished each other happiness. They just could not continue on the same path. Public opinion, after all, has its own cycle. Those who like it still like it, those who don't, forget it. They listened to the story not just as news, but as a small lesson about self-respect and the opportunity to choose their own happiness. In another city, Tony experiences a new relationship with an ordinary person. People don't care about who he used to be. Caitriona continues to walk the red carpet, finding joy in her roles and work. Every night, they can sleep peacefully, because they let go at the right time, because they chose serenity over the shackles of fame.